Hey everybody. So today I really wanted to talk about faith moves and some of the commitments you have to make by doing those things. So sometimes you're going to be called to do certain moves or business ventures or even talking to someone you really felt like you weren't supposed to talk to anymore from years ago. And God will put something in your spirit or tell you something in a dream. And obviously, like you want to pray about it and consult Him. And then He's going to give you certain actions on what you should do to follow up with that. Unfortunately, not everything is always outlined as an event planner would do for you. For me, I am an event planner by trade. I will do everything down to the minute to make sure that we have accounted for all the time that we have and also make extra room for any mishaps that may happen. When you are leading a life of faith, that's not always exactly how you get everything written down to you. Sometimes God will break everything down, tell you what you have to do, and there's going to be other times He will show you the final product, and you have to walk closely with Him on how you're going to get there, how you're going to maneuver through the dark times, the very stressful obstacles you're going to overcome, overcoming your own fears and anxieties, overcoming people's comments and their fears, or they're projecting certain things onto you. And you have to do what you can to prepare and plan because you don't want to just go willy-nilly and just jump off a cliff and it's like, yes, like I'm just following what God told me and just do whatever. No, the Bible does outline that we should plan certain things, but at the end of it all, like God outlines what will happen in the end. And you have to think about it this way, like if God gave you something to be responsible for, like the talents that they talk about, if you just keep that one, but you're not doing anything with it to make it grow, how is He going to trust you with something bigger? So you want to lead a life of faith, but as time goes on, He's going to give you bigger and bigger challenges, more responsibilities, more people that you're going to impact. And if you're not managing the small things well, when you get to the other areas or you want God to bless you with more, it's like, child, you can't even get this right consistently. How am I going to give you more? And we can be inspired by certain stories, or some people get inspired even for some of the things that I did, like moving across the country, and I didn't even have a full concrete plan, and that drove me crazy. It gave me a lot of anxiety, but I knew that God told me that I needed to come here. And I can doubt a lot of things in my life, but that is the one thing I will never doubt. Um, but even then, there were certain things that I had to get done before I came to California. There were certain people that I needed to speak to. I needed to get baptized, and I kept get baptized again. I kept procrastinating it. All these other things kept getting in the way. I had excuses. Um, and then I'm like, I know I'm supposed to go to California, and there were things like, well, you can't go until you do this. Well, I need you to do this. I need you to bless this person that hurt you. I need you to continue to show up even though this isn't a place that you feel valued. I need you to leave this job with honor. I need you to, you know what I mean? Like there were a lot of things, and you guys will hear more about my story in the future. But don't get so sidetracked on looking at someone else's story that you're not taking that time to accomplish the things that God is telling you to do, because there is a reason why He has put it on your heart, whether it's to pray for somebody, whether it's to go somewhere and just be there for someone, or give someone something, or someone may pour into you. You just never know what the reason is, why you have to be at a certain place. And learning how to create better boundaries. So that was one of the biggest things that I've had to work on the last 3 years. And I've been in California, it's going to be a year pretty soon. But knowing the boundaries within myself, what I can allow people to say or do, and where I end and someone else begins. Because I had that problem that I just wanted to show up or um, overshow what my role is in someone's life. And sometimes people don't really need that in their life. And with that, I was getting sidetracked on what I needed to do in mine. And That doesn't sound great, but that's the reality. I'm a pretty transparent person. So I know that where I mess up, I'll own up to it. But when you're getting too focused on other areas, you're missing out on God's voice on telling you something, on really getting to get some instruction. I had to have a lot of quiet time, a lot of boundaries of people like not hitting me up or putting my phone on silent. It's like, hey, like I can't really talk right now. I need to focus on this, even though people didn't understand. And there's going to be times that you don't even understand why God is telling you to do a certain thing. He will put something on your mind. And for me, sometimes it rings like an alarm until I get it done. It'll just keep going and going. And I'm like, all right, I heard you. I'm going to do this. No matter how uncomfortable it made me feel. And sometimes it took time to get that courage to get there. But I knew that there was something on the other side of it, whether if it was for me, whether it was for someone in the moment or someone that they were connected to. I believe that we limit ourselves and the calling that God has in our lives to our small circle. You don't know how many people are connected to that one person that you may be pouring into in that moment and who they may share that to. Your information, that like your testimony can be like, oh, you're just telling your friend, and that friend has someone next year that tells them, oh my gosh, I'm going through this, I don't know how to get through it. It's like, hey, like I actually know somebody that went through that. This is what they did, maybe this can help you. Don't be so limited in your thinking that God hasn't called you to do something great in this world, that just because you don't have a million followers or fans or whatever your platform that you use or friends, that you're not going to be able to impact the world. Sometimes the world is just one person. Like Jesus left the 99 to help the one. And why do we get so focused on impacting so many different people when that one person, they are a world in themselves. They are in a being of existence. They are important too. It's not just the masses that is important to help. It's the people that are in front of you, the people that you interact with on a daily basis, whether it's someone you're ringing up at your job or someone that you're talking to on the phone. There's so many different methods that we can either spread the gospel or share God's light, and our gifts, because the things, our gifts and our skills, there's so many different things that we can help impact people's lives. And we think because you're not on a platform or the altar or whatever your goal is of someone is important, or you don't have a microphone, oh, you're not making a difference. No, honey, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. God uses so many of us as vessels, and we're letting fear, we're letting anxiety, depression, we're letting our stories because we were ratchet or something hold us back. And God has used people, even in the Bible, with horrible stories to be able to turn them and use them for good. He was able to use people that were bad to even get a message across to someone that was able to change trajectory of other people's lives. So don't think because your life doesn't look like so purified and perfect that he can't even use you today. That he can't start using you today to change not only the other people's lives but your own life. He's going to continue to transform you, continue to grow your faith, but it's like you making that constant commitment for you to get there, for you to take that one step, and then he will continue to give you different miles to walk through. Stop trying to fly across to get to that massive goal that he may have told you or you want, and you're forgetting that you got to take the baby steps to start getting there. You can't just like snap your fingers and get there. It's going to take work. It's going to take you letting go of some things that no longer fit who you are. It's going to take time for you to get accustomed to building different habits, letting go of other things. Like I said, it's going to take time for you to learn how to walk in some basic shoes versus you trying to walk in some giant platform heels. Don't try to rush the process, because you're going to miss vital tools that are going to help you later on in the line. I was talking to two friends earlier this week, and the one, I told her she wanted to get promoted at her job, and she's like, I need to move up, I need to move up. And I'm like, the one thing I learned working in retail for 12 years and moving up in all the different positions that I did is The reason I became a better manager was because I was in those lower level roles. And honestly, those lower levels meant so much more because you're interacting with people a lot more. You don't realize how much of an importance you are if you've never been at the bottom. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. If you get so focused on skipping ahead, you won't value those people below you. You won't value that time that you spent in your previous seasons. You won't be able to get to be the strongest version that you need to be at that highest level that you're imagining because you missed out on the lessons or you rushed through them. Because if you try to, this is what I told my other friend, he's a chef. If you try to make a cake or a creme brulee and you put it into the oven, you use all the right ingredients and it's going to have potential and that's wonderful. But if you take it out before it's time, it's going to fall flat. It's going to be creamy depending on which one you're making. It's going to poison you in some areas. It's going to damage certain things. It's going to make you sick. Sorry for the background noise, guys, if you hear it. It's going to make you sick and you won't be able to get the best final thing possible because you took it out too early. If you wait too long to do something, you will burn it. You will affect others as well because you not only are burning yourself, you're burning other people. You're missing out on impacting them. You're missing out on helping them walk through certain things that God has called you to do. You're missing out on you developing the gift and the skills and the places that God wants you to be because you're just like, no, I can't. No, I'm not ready. But if God is putting you in those places, he's going to also bring the people to show you how to do certain things. He's going to show you different things that you can use as resources for you to be educated in the areas that you need to be. But you need to make that sacrifice. But when you are listening to God, you're listening to like your inner Holy Spirit to lead you, it will tell you, okay, now it's ready. Like take it out of the oven. It will taste good. The people around you will able to see the impact of what you did. It will smell good. That is like your energy is going to be affecting other people. Like can they see the Holy Spirit in you? Can they see your healing? Can they see those things? So it's like don't get so focused on I want that cake. I need to make sure that cake is there. I need to be this whatever person, and then you're taking things out too early or too late. Take the time to see what is really impacting your life, what habits you need to shed from yourself so you could become the best version of you possible. So then you can start getting to those different levels. Stop glamorizing these stories that it's just like, I want this life, but you don't know all the sacrifices the person or the people have made to get to those things. And just because a certain path helped one person or certain decisions, that doesn't mean that that's the same thing that God has called you to do. That doesn't mean that even though, let's say, you and your friend are both moving to different parts of the country, he tells you around the same time. That happened to me and two of my other friends. We all had different paths on how it was done. It doesn't make one less called than the other. We were all called to do different things for different reasons. We are all impacting different groups of people. But if you get so stuck on trying to do a copy and paste of somebody else's calling, of somebody else's life, of somebody else's business venture, you're missing out on the greatness that God has put within you. It, no, that's not what God has called you to do. We all are different for a reason. Stop trying to replicate things that you were not called to be. You are amazing on your own. You are called because God has put something in you, and the work that he has begun in you, he will finish in you. So believe that. If you don't believe it yet, start pouring into yourself. Read the Bible. Put yourself around people that can pour into you spiritually and in the areas that you need to grow in. Stop putting yourself around these toxic people that are only talking down on your dreams, talking down on the things that God has called you to be, because you don't have time for that. Our time in this earth is very limited, and it's so easy to get distracted. And I'm not saying that I don't ever get distracted. My attention span can be like a goldfish sometimes. So that's why I have to have different systems to help me out so I can be the best version possible and continue to revisit and reshape and regrow my relationship with myself and with God, and like who he wants around me. My one friend said the other day that you need to make room for the things that you want. If you're keeping somebody in the seat next to you, they're keeping the seat warm. You're like, I'm just going to keep this person here, this friend here, the significant other here, this job here until the right things come along. But it's just like, I'm not telling you just to quit your job. Like, I'm not telling you that. Obviously, be responsible. But if you are so stuck on keeping the seat warm, that other thing may not want to come because you haven't prepared for it. You haven't prepared the seat it deserves. You haven't prepared the time it deserves. Because why? If you're keeping something here in your life that God has told you to let go of, you still have to think about the time frame that it takes to heal from whatever thing that was taking the seat. You have to kill those old habits. You have to create new habits. You have to change your way of thinking and engaging with that certain topic. And we just think that, oh, no worries, when this opportunity comes, I'll be ready. How are you ready though? What have you been doing to prepare yourself? Stop wanting all these huge things. And don't worry, I'm talking to myself too. It's like, stop wanting all these huge things and you haven't taken that moment to sit down and say like, okay, what am I doing to prepare? What am I doing to study? What space am I making in my life to do it? Because we want the blessings, but for God to bless us, we need to make room for him and make room for the blessings. You want these big faith moves, I applaud you for that, but the faith move that I want you guys to make is the faith to let go of the things that are no longer serving you. That's where I'm ending this. We will work on this year, guys and gals, but this is what I need you to think about. Your faith move begins with letting go of the things that are no longer serving you to make room for the blessings that you are believing God for. I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. I'm out.